This is not going to be pretty.
And I took the back of her hat, which was a way up here, like this, and I took the back and I lifted it down until her whole face was covered. And she was furious. And she lifted the hat up, and she looked at me and gave me a withering look. And I says, I'm terribly sorry. I thought you were a fellow I knew from Kansas City. That's a true story.
Hell yeah, let's do it. All right. Can you tell me what you did with the $100 in prize money from Pinnacle 2021?
What did I do with the $100 from prize money at Pinnacle 2021? Pinnacle 2021 was like a fighting game tournament I entered in Canada. Probably gas money, because I remember back then I would drive all the time to like tournaments locally in California where I live. So it's like it probably was used for gas money, because I used gas money a lot. So I would drive a lot to these tournaments. I guess that was what I used it for.
Yeah, I was gonna say that one's in Vancouver, right? So that the prize money might have just covered gas there and back if you're lucky.
Yeah, it was Vancouver. Actually, yeah. I'm wondering I don't know if I bought anything in Vancouver like expensive. I don't think I did. But if I did, probably that. But more than likely gas. My memory's really kind of like bad, so I can't remember what I ate yesterday. So 3 years ago, 4 years ago, yeah, it's probably gas money. Yeah.
The thing my mind went to is like, dude, if I won money in a fighting game tournament, I'm gonna immediately go buy some fucking like action figure or some dumb shit, you know?
Yeah,
But
oh yeah.
more responsible than I am.
I'm like, don't take it for responsibility. I do buy stuff like that too, like some crazy stuff. But yeah, man.
But not with the gas money, at least.
Not with the gas money. Yeah, I gotta drive it.
Respect. Well,
Yeah.
there's so much to dive into. One of the things that I appreciate about you is I know you're a big anime fan, and I think I've, of course, known of anime for a little bit, but I've gotten a little more into it recently. I'm curious, can you just take me back to maybe the first anime you saw, or the first one that really clicked with you?
Yeah, so I mean, when I was a kid, I didn't watch like specific animes like that, but those popular animes that I loved, and I loved Dragon Ball growing up.
Hmm.
Dragon Ball's probably it's a tough one because Pokemon counts as anime. I watched Pokemon growing up as a kid, and the Dragon Ball was like really the first one that like I have a Dragon Ball tattoo, like so that's the only tattoo I have. So I really love Dragon Ball. It shaped me who I am. The game like changed me, but like recently, like Attack on Titan's really good. I'm watching Sakamoto Days right now. Like,
Oh, dude, I love Sakamoto Days.
dude, it's so good. We're like, I'm watching it right now. It's great, and I just finished catching up on Demon Slayer, ready like for that movie. So like, I think both shaped me. Like, it's my favorite. If I had to pick one, it probably is Dragon Ball because like growing up, like it's like an escape. I like the entertainment was always been like an escape of reality for me. So it's like Dragon Ball. Like when I had a sad day, I would play like a game or watch like an episode. I had like movies on DVD. There was like a lot that it like when I grew up with, like it benefited with me with or connected with me with, and
Hmm.
yeah, I think it has to be like Dragon Ball. Like, that was the question, right? Like Dragon Ball, my favorite. I was going off my tangent. I was going off, but
No,
yeah,
no, no,
Dragon
you're
Ball.
crushing it. You're doing great.
Specifically, Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z was my favorite. Dragon Ball, I didn't really grow up watching. I watched that later in my life, and it was good. Super, I watched Super when it came out, and GT. But yeah, Z, Dragon Ball Z, is probably my favorite, most influential.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I love that.
When I think about, and what's the phrasing I'm looking for? I have never actually gotten around to Dragon Ball. It's not no beef with it or anything. I just haven't made the time. But when I hear people talk about it, something that I often notice people think about is I think there's such an idea of like self-improvement and gathering strength and training and practice in that show. Was that kind of an impactful thing to you, like the idea of like I can get stronger, I can improve? Is that something you took from it?
Yeah, in more or less, yeah. Like just thinking it's like Dragon Ball is a product of its time. Like if it came out later in time, like it probably wouldn't be one of my favorites. It came out when I was a kid, and because of that, when you're a kid, like I feel like you're more susceptible, more influenced by things you enjoy. So yes, with Dragon Ball, like growing up with it, like I did want to be stronger in a way. I wanted to train like Goku or do like be like a symbol of like this or that, like Goku was. Like you think about those things when I was a kid. So yes, I did kind of think about that. I don't know if it was like anything specific, like be stronger, but more like be motivated to kind of be better than who you were yesterday. in some
Absolutely, yeah.
shape or form. So yeah, like that definitely for me, like it still influences me today. Like animes like that, like I'll think about that, like inspires me to go out and do something better. So yeah, Dragon Ball definitely did that for me, and I think it did that for a lot of other people as well. If I, yeah, for sure.
Hell yeah, dude, that's awesome. Well, hey, I guess switching topics just a little bit. So I saw your interview with it's Ryan Payton, right, the director of Arkham
Yeah,
Shadow. Um, and one of the things that he mentioned, I think you thought it was, well, maybe funny is the wrong word, but a really cool thing was that he was checking out your lore videos. And I have putting myself in your shoes. When you hear something like that, does that make you want to go and immediately be like, oh shit, I gotta make up some shit, put this in lore videos, and like hope they put it in the new Arkham game? Like, did that idea ever come to you?
no, that specific idea never came up to me where it's like I want to go out and do more lore for them to see. No, I was just like, it was just kind of surreal, like because my channel is way more like, I don't know if it's niche, but it's like very specific topics, and like you wouldn't expect like a very like talented gaming company to like watch your videos and like yeah, the way you were describing it, like they would watch and like take notes on like lore things and stuff. So it's like really just real word, just surreal. Like it was really cool to hear that and very like awesome that like a gaming company like talented Camelot made a really good game and like they just take those ideas and implement it in Arkham Shadow. Like it was more so surreal. I didn't go out and like do like more videos or anything like that to like help them for the next game or anything. I
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's just cool to hear. That's all it was, and it makes me feel good. I told my friends about it and like just like yeah, kind of flex honestly, and they're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
that's really cool." And I was like, "Yeah, I know, it was really cool." Yeah,
Well,
how many people say that?
not many, I'll tell you that. Well, you know what's funny is like when I like if that were to happen to me, what I would do is just immediately go out and be like, I'm just gonna say Deathstroke was in Arkham Asylum so that hopefully they add him in the new, just something like that, you know? That's where I went to it, but that's because I'm like an evil person.
Oh no, sometimes I can be evil too. Trust me. I don't know why that idea didn't come up in my head, but no, yeah, no, you're right. I can be evil too. Just nothing.
Okay, well, I guess sticking on that, maybe it's not a related topic, but it's the next question. So, um, obviously, they just announced the what is it, Legacy of the Dark Knight, the new Lego game.
Yeah.
If you have your pick across the wide gamut, almost 90 years of Batman stories, as deep cut as mainstream as you want, is there one story you're like, come on, just please put this one in the game?
Oh my god. Which one do I pick? My favorite comic of all time is Batman Year One by Frank Miller.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
that's a comic that I don't see they're adapting here because maybe because like that's like Batman's first year as Batman, but the trailers make it seem like his first year will be like maybe of training with the League or going up against
Hmm.
Penguin. I would really like to see that adapted because it focuses on other characters that aren't Batman, like Gordon. So that would be one big adaptation. But honestly, like my mind went straight away to like DLC. There's like a DLC story. There's this one comic called Batman the Button series where like Batman and the Flash cross over and they go back into like the Flashpoint timeline and Batman meets his dad. Super outlandish. But like I can see maybe as DLC, like a crossover would be super sick. I would love to see that in Lego form, but something more practical? Oh man, that's a
No,
good
that
one.
that can be the answer. I think that's
Oh
perfectly
yeah.
fine.
Oh yeah, those two would be my favorite. I think popular comics like Killing Joke, all those would be great. Uh, yeah, but honestly, yeah, those two would be my favorite for sure.
Dude, oh man, year one, what a comic. I think I still, my vision's crappy. I can't tell from here. I think I still have my graphic novel of that from like I don't know when I was like 12 or something.
Oh,
That's a
nice.
great book. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
love
love it.
that
I
one.
love it. I love it.
God, there's so much to dive into here. Well, I guess something I've been thinking about lately is I think it's January 1st, 2035, I want to say it is Batman enters the public domain. So then suddenly anyone can make a Batman comic, Batman movie, Batman game with no like they have full legal rights to. It just thinking forward 10 years, is there anything that you're like, what are fans going to do with that thing?
Oh my gosh, that's a good question. So, I mean, if it's public domain, like anybody can make games and fans, which is going to be insane. So there was like this game that's I think got taken off Steam, but this one dude was making it. It was like a Batman horror game. Where he plays like four people trying to rob or steal like this break into this one place, and Batman's like terrorizing them. It looks really fun, but I think that it got taken down because of the WB, which sucks.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
I would. That was like a fan game that would have been really fun to play. I was really looking forward to that. The possibilities in 10 years though are like endless. Like if anyone can use Batman, you're definitely gonna see it a lot more like movies and TV shows and like you're seeing Winnie the Pooh, like the horror movies. Like it's probably gonna be one of those things too. I cannot doubt that. But like as far as games go, it would be crazy. Like anyone can use them, anyone can reference them. You for sure will see him a lot more. But that question, it's like it could be anything. Like I could just say something, it'll be something the next. Like it's the public domain, and it's Batman too, one of the most popular pop culture characters. So it's like what I would like to see is someone making like shoot, an actual like without restrictions, like another open world Batman game. I'm always down for another open world Batman game. I mean, it doesn't have to be Arkham, it doesn't have to be Lego. Like do whatever you want. Um, or
Yeah.
like or like fan made games would be really great too. I think we're gonna see a lot more fan made games, which would be really awesome, and beneficial for the community. If there's like a dry like season of no superhero games, no Batman games.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, I think what I'd be most looking forward to are fan games because there'd be a lot more you can play. And I would just at that point I'm assuming there'd be more Batman games officially by like WB and stuff. So yes, whatever WB like yeah, those fan games would be what I'd be looking forward to the most. Honestly, I love them.
Ah, it's gonna be so sick. I mean, like, there's already so much cool stuff happening, even just
Oh yeah,
now, getting taken down, like you said. But when the floodgates are open, that's gonna
oh
be
yeah.
cool. Uh, you said once, Adam Sandler is an incredible actor. That's a quote of yours. Have you seen Uncut Gems? That's the question.
Okay, I have not seen Uncut Gems. Adam Sandler's been more of like a childhood like figure for me, but yeah, I heard Uncut Gems is great, like the fantastic movie, but I have not seen it. No, no,
Okay, all right. I had to check because I have my Uncut Gems poster sitting right there, and I'm like, I rarely get to ask about this, but
no. I see.
uh,
Good question. I like Click. Click's my favorite Adam Sandler movie. Oh yeah.
I have yet
Okay.
to get around to. I think didn't they use the house from The Godfather in that movie, or is that
Oh maybe.
maybe I'm thinking of this movie called like Flick or something. You know what? I'm trying to remember something I heard in a podcast like 8 years ago, and I'm like, why am I trying to remember that right now?
That's cool.
Okay, well, something you talked about is like how excited you are about the possibility, who knows if it'll happen, of Origins being remastered. I'm curious, what is it about that game that you think is ripe for a remaster, for a re-release?
Oh, I think there's a good a few reasons. One, it's like accessibility. Like on consoles, like it hasn't been like re-released. It's only been stuck on like the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 games, which means you can buy it then and then play it on your current gen consoles. I think I haven't got on console the new gen consoles, but it's also like DLC. You can't buy DLC anymore for those games on console. So the biggest thing is like an accessibility thing. The second thing is like I feel like a game's been neglected by WB. Like they never reference it. The Arkham Rocksteady trilogy gets like referenced all the time. Arkham Origins always seems to be like forgotten. Like it's not supposed to be a thing. So I think it's also just like a legacy thing. Like I don't want the game to be forgotten because I think the game that has the best story in the franchise, honestly, is my favorite story, and it's a really fun game. And to see it be like kind of like forgotten or like no one talks about it, like WB, and it's just fans, like it kind of sucks. And I also think gameplay wise, like a game, it hasn't aged bad, I would say, but it's very buggy, kind of glitchy. I feel like
Hmm.
the graphics can be kind of like outdated sometimes. Like I feel like Arkham City, it's like even before the remaster of Arkham City, has better graphics than Arkham Origins. So I think for all those reasons, it probably does deserve a remaster. Um, Especially since the other games technically did get a remaster, so it's like this one deserves the same, and it's been far too long, and it gets more eyes on the game. So accessibility is always a big thing. Um, those are the main reasons, and it would just be
Yeah,
awesome. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
dude, I'm telling you, it's. I think you had maybe a similar experience to me. Arkham Origins. Oh God, what year did that come out? 2013. Sound right?
2013, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah. That game, I was in I think I was in eighth grade something at the time, and like, dude, when that game was coming out, so I'd played. I think it's funny. I heard you describe it, and I had the exact same story. Someone loaned me their copy of Arkham City when I was in middle school, and I played. And I don't even know if I had known of Arkham Asylum, or I think as a kid I might have like seen it and been like, oh, that's probably just one of those movie tie-in games. Like, I'm not gonna play that. And I played Arkham City. I was like, oh shit, this is a really goddamn good game. So then Arkham Origins was the first one that I caught like as it was coming out, and I was like so hyped for that game. And dude, I used to play that like every Christmas Eve, you know, that kind of thing. Like, and actually, I just played it for the first time like a decade just last night, prepping for the interview, and I was like, this game, honestly, I think that's probably my favorite of all of them. Like, it's sick. But
Right.
yeah, 100% feel you there. You know, I guess on the story front of Arkham Origins, something that I picked up on, you know, I played the first, I don't know, 4 hours, something like that. Um, I think the characters are so they're not afraid to go a little bit comic booky with it. They're a little more kind of arcadey or whatever the word is, a little
Yeah,
more
yeah.
emotive. I something I'm thinking about. I don't know if this makes any sense. Like from a writing perspective, do you think you can take some bigger swings when you kind of know where the character's going to end up, and you all you have to do is just get them there?
Yeah, I think so. I think with like Rocksteady in particular, like they did a really good job in like making them like kind of outlandish, a little bit more comic booky, but also like making them kind of like realistic or make sense in a way. I think the benefit of like Arkham Asylum or Arkham City is like these villains like they didn't have to like do an origin for them; they're just there. Like you just write them. So I think getting past that and like just making it so like Scarecrow in Arkham Asylum is like this big goofy scary guy, or like Harley Quinn's already Harley Quinn, or Killer Croc's already like Killer Croc. Like I think since they already have that, it's way easier for people to be like, oh, okay, this is a Batman universe we're in. Like they're like kind of like full on comic booky, but also feel like a little bit more grounded. And then like since we already know that, they can just go from like point A to point B, like to get them to like their storyline. So Scarecrow in Arkham Asylum in particular was like kind of like goofy, he had like this very funny voice, and then he just kind of gets eaten by Killer Croc. Like I think that was like a really like it just made sense in the whole grand scheme of things because he's already established as a character. So I think because Rocksteady went away, where it's like the game already had the villains that are established, not origins or anything, it makes it way easier for them to get point A to point B because they can just do their storylines there. And I think just for the tone of the Arkham games, like yeah, they found a really good ground of making them like everyone just believe and like not feel goofy when they see like a giant crocodile or they see like poison ivy. Like it just makes sense and it feels realistic or grounded. Not realistic, but it feels grounded in a way. Like it just feels like the metahumans and the outlandish stuff in Batman's like rogues gallery like just makes sense and you just buy it. So you can like, and because of that, it's easier to go to, like for them to go to the next like, point A to point B. That's how I think.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Um, well, you know, one of the things that I like so much about your channel is I think, well, I mean, obviously there's a lot of things, but one of them, beyond, I think there are a lot of people, like I would say, like Call of Duty, at least back in the day. I don't know what it is like, what it's like now. A lot of people make videos about stuff, and they're just like, even though they're a fan of it, like this thing fucking sucks. I hate it. This new version, it wasn't as good as the old version. So I like, you know, there are definitely times you criticize the games, but it's very respectful and it's very like, hey, I want this to be the best it can be, which is, you know, I love that. And one of the things you focus on a lot, that it seems to me is the writing of the games. And I'm curious if you're in that writing room for Arkham Knight, what would you say for Deathstroke? Because like I agree with you. When I found him in the tank, I was like, are you shitting me? This is what we're doing with this guy?
Yes. Texture, it'd be tough. Like, personally, for me, storylines, like, I really like personal, like, emotional storylines. So, like, with Jason, I probably would have done it differently. I probably would have made it so you have more, like, emotional storylines with Jason. That's where with Deathstroke would be an interesting one because it wouldn't really be, like, an emotional one. I think the one thing I would change with Deathstroke in the story, I never really thought about it. Probably incorporate him more into the main story, considering he's helping Jason. Like he's like it's kind of almost like background second in command. But you only see him through side mission, and then it ends up being in this weak boss fight that nobody really wanted. Um, I would probably incorporate him into the main story somehow. If I had to like change the story, I've talked about this before. I would have like the Arkham Knight revealed in the beginning, so throughout the entire story, you can like develop Jason and Batman's relationship, which makes like the fight a little bit more like a little bit better.
Hmm.
And then I think that would be a good moment to introduce Deathstroke. I think Deathstroke would then be able to fit into the story because you're not wondering about who the Arkham Knight is. I think he can fit into the story. Um, I think then you can have him as a side mission after you develop him in the main story. So I think that it's hard to say, but I think he would be great to be in the main story and then like branch him out to a side mission. That makes more sense for him. I think the issue with Arkham Knight too, like Deathstroke would have been more memorable if like he had an actual boss fight. Like tank fights didn't make really much sense for him. I think if they really just had it side mission, having like a combat fight, people would look back on fondly on Deathstroke in that game. And I think that's the biggest issue. Because even the way they have him here, it's fine. Like he's just there. He's like in charge of the militia after Jason leaves. Like okay, that makes sense. But I think it just left a sour taste in people's mouths if the Batmobile or the tank fight with him wasn't there. So I think if they made that like it's like an actual combat fight, he'd be fine in the story. I would be like okay with it. But I think to go more in depth and all out with it, having him in the main story in some shape or form, whatever that may be, and then he branches out into the side mission, be fighting like a combat thing. I think would be the best thing to do with him.
Yeah, I mean, I think that makes perfect sense, and I would have. Just speaking personally, I would have much preferred that. But whatever, I'm not gonna go into a whole thing about it. Deathstroke's like one of my favorite characters. So when when I played that mission when I was like 15 or whatever, I was like,
I know.
doing this?
It's crazy.
Well, I guess you mentioned the potential changes that you would have maybe made to the Jason Todd story, and what's funny is that reminds me a little bit of what they did with Doc Ock in that first Spider-Man game, and like, boy, what a swing that was, like.
Oh, yeah.
He's just kind of a side character, or maybe not side character is the wrong term. He's like a supportive character for the first 10 hours of the game, and then it's like, whoa, like I guess there's not a question there, but it's a thing I think is cool.
No, I think about that too. I like that as well. Like, yeah, it was done well there. I wish Jason got the same treatment, but yeah, it was great there.
I guess on the subject of Spider-Man, if you could just, maybe if it's a feeling, a game mechanic, art style, whatever, if there's something you could just take out of the Insomniac games and throw into the Arkham verse, what would that be for you, do you think?
Oh, that's a good question. You know what? I think I was thinking about the same thing like the other day, and they're incorporating to Lego Batman, and it's like a better way of traversal. Spider-Man 2's traversal is way more enjoyable to me than Arkham. The swing around the city as Spider-Man's always been so fun to me, especially growing up as a kid. But something they do in Spider-Man 2 is like the traversal. You can like use wind tunnels that go around faster. I'm like, Arkham should have wind tunnels. That'd be really fun to have wind tunnels. I think improving the traversal would be really fun. And I also think that there's a lot of things in Spider-Man 2, like quality of life, I think that does better than Arkham Knight, which was like the costumes. Like costume accessibility in Spider-Man 2 is like you just press start and like go to a costume, click it.
Love
Arkham
it.
Knight, yeah, Arkham Knight doesn't really have a quality of life. Like they have to go back out in the main menu or do something a little bit more extra. I think that quality of life things that Spider-Man 2 does like that would be great to incorporate in Arkham Knight, especially like weather, they change time of day, changing the weather, like doing the costumes. So I think what Spider-Man 2 does better are those quality of life things that really do enhance the gameplay experience. But to take it a step further, like traversal, Arkham Knight had great traversal. I mean, grapple glide, drive the car. What more can you ask for? But Spider-Man 2 did something like wind tunnels, which I thought was really cool and interesting. You don't think about that. So I think having interesting things like that around the city to like keep you going around, make it more interesting. I think the next Batman game can benefit from that. So those are things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Dude, the movement, and I started playing Spider-Man 2 again recently. Again, same thing, doing research. But I think the movement in that game is just like out of this world.
It's sick.
Yeah. Like seriously. Switching a little bit, I loved your your tier list of the factions. If you God forbid, wind up in Arkham City or something, is there one you're making a beeline for, that you're thugging for?
Yeah, that's a good question. Like when I made that video, there's some comments in the video that like made me think like, oh, okay, they have a point there. Like people were saying like they would rather be with Penguin than Two-Face, where I thought I'd rather be with Two-Face with Penguin. I think I would probably try to chill around Poison Ivy and Mr. Freeze's area over like right above like the Steel Mill and like Music Mile, like that around that area, because in the game it feels like no one's really populating that area. You can like hide and it's kind of easy to, especially around the GCPD. So I would try to beeline there. In the game, like it blows up the bridge, you can be stuck there. Like I think you could just because of that though, it might be like less people to kill you. So I would try to make a beeline there. I would try to. If not, I would try to make a beeline for around the courthouse, over where like Two Faces like area was.
Hmm.
That'd be my next. But yeah, I mean Arkham City it's just a death area. Like you everywhere, like every corner is dangerous. So you have to pick your poison really. I'd probably take the amusement mile. Yeah, really
I
take
love the
that.
amusement mile. Such a cool
It's great.
design.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Well, oh gosh. You mentioned Two Face there, and I know that's your. I've given if memory serves, that's your favorite Batman villain,
It is.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I'm curious, thinking like one of the things that is so I think defining about Two Face certainly is his origin of pursuing justice, what he thinks is the right way, and then getting kind of beaten down for it, and I guess like thinking about it just from your perspective, I know you've been doing YouTube full time for a couple of years now, but previous to that, you were in the police academy studying criminal justice and all these things. How much of Two Face's appeal do you think is just like your personal ability to like relate to that idea?
A good question. I've been asked about that with like my friends too, like relating to Batman and stuff. I think that Two Face, there's like I like it for a lot of reasons, but I do really enjoy like how like looking into like corrupt like systems like throughout history, and like I really like looking at like how things can like change people in like your justice system and stuff. So I really do
Hmm.
like that. I've never really connected that with Two Face, but it probably is like a subconscious thing. Like oh yeah, like Two Face as a character is written like that. Like he's trying to fight against corruption in Gotham, and it turned him into what he is now. And truthfully, there is probably a subconscious like level of connection there that I just don't know because I don't think about it. But it's
Hmm.
definitely probably present because I always am interested in like things like that, like criminal justice and stuff. So there definitely has to be, definitely is a connection. But like when I think of Two Face, I just like his whole dichotomy between like his good side and his bad side, and like this whole thing with flipping the coin and like the whole connection with Batman. Those are reasons I say when I answer why he's my favorite villain. But there is probably like a level of connection there between like my real life, like going to the police academy and doing this and that with Two Face that I just don't really know, but there has to be something there. It's more like a subconscious thing, I'd say. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Of course, you talk a lot about Batman in your channel, obviously, because it's a Batman channel, superhero games channel. But I know you're a big fan of all different kinds of games. Thinking about let's say role playing games, for example. When I say that, what games pop to mind? Are there a couple all time favorites?
Oh yeah, I think it like Skyrim. Skyrim's one of my favorites. Red Dead Redemption 2. That's like a role playing game, I'd say. I don't know if it's a
Yeah,
role. No,
adjacent.
I
Yeah,
got Jason. Yeah. I would say like Legend of Zelda, Pokemon. Even as aren't like complete official role playing games, I always think of them as such. But like Skyrim was definitely one that came to mind. Paper Mario, The Thousand Year Door. Like, I'm a big Nintendo guy too.
Hmm.
I'd say it was like the first that come to mind when you say RPG games.
Which do you think you have the most time in, if you had to bet?
Oh, probably. If we're counting Pokemon like across like since as a kid, it has to be that. But like more like probably like Skyrim, I put a lot of time. I bought like Skyrim came out like 10 times. They re-released like 10 times. I
Yeah,
bought like 3 of them.
seriously.
Yeah, I bought like 3 of them. So it probably was Skyrim. I had so many playthroughs. It was like an actual full fledged role playing game like that. Probably with Skyrim, but Pokemon if you count Pokemon. But yeah.
Well, do you ever like I did this recently because they had Skyrim on sale for like $4 or something, so I bought it and then I was messing around with the mods. Do you ever like deep dive in like what if my sword was actually Goku or something, Do you ever like go through those?
No, when I play like role playing games, I kind of don't really use mods. I know people love mods, like a big
Hmm.
thing. I've never like really gone out of my way to use them. I always kind of like playing the vanilla game, but yeah, no, it'd be cool. Like my friend loves mods, so I see him do it. I see him do all these crazy things, but no, I don't really care for like like maybe I can be dressed as Batman or do this with Goku or
Hmm.
pretend to be this character. It's but I do love watching that stuff. I just never go around myself doing it myself. So.
You know, it's like the thing I love about mods is like it makes me feel like I'm like Hideo Kojima because I'm playing the game and I would have when I was playing Skyrim recently a few months ago whatever it was I'd literally have a sticky notepad and just write down things I don't like about the game and then just download a mod because there are so many. Of course it existed. So
Yeah.
you feel like the coolest person in the world because you're like, oh yeah, I directed Skyrim, you know. Uh,
Oh yeah.
it's such a good feeling, dude. Well, you know, I I think superhero games are on, I would say, a fairly decent rise right now, which is kind of, I guess, interesting. Is in my opinion, I think superhero movies are kind of doing this, but superhero games seem like they're really doing hot right now. What, in your opinion, is the greatest untapped potential for a superhero game?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, there's like the thing with superhero games is like there's a lot of untapped potential because like since I was a kid, the superhero games primarily have been Batman, really just Spider-Man, really kind of Spider-Man,
Hmm.
Batman with Arkham. But there's so much untapped potential. There's so many superhero characters you can make that would make for great games. Like one that came to mind was like Daredevil. I think like I think street level superheroes have like the most potential because people are
Hmm.
used to that gameplay and there's a lot of like room to like for like to make a good game around that. So I think like someone
Hmm.
like Daredevil would be great. I think someone like Green Arrow could be good. Like really like these kind of characters. Um, but of course like Superman deserves his own game. Obviously, he needs a game. Like Flat Wonder Woman got canceled, which sucks. Like those are
Ugh,
games that
yeah.
yeah, those are games that should be made, and they have a lot of untapped potentials. I would say Superman and Wonder Woman like these more like powerful heroes because you really don't have, never got like a triple A game really with like characters on that caliber, especially for DC. So I
Hmm.
think they have really untapped potential. I think Daredevil, like specifically like Daredevil, or something would be great, but I guess it's not untapped potential because they're similar characters like Batman and Spider Man. But I think
I feel
so,
like they're different enough, though. Yeah, I think you could do
I
some
agree.
really interesting stuff.
They could definitely do something different Daredevil. I agree, but someone like
Yeah.
Superman, it would be really a different creative
Hmm.
direction they could take. And I think because like there's like untapped potential with that, there's just a ton of superheroes. If you just go outside Batman and Spider Man, like there's so many other heroes. I would say for me, it's like Superman, Daredevil, Wonder Woman, a lot of interesting characters. But yes, those I would say are untapped potential.
Switching gears just a little bit, have you, since you uploaded it, have you rewatched Video for the Future Me?
I have seen it. There was a stream a long time ago where I watched it. My stream together like a year ago, or not like a year ago, like after. Yeah, probably around a year ago. And I have seen it. Yes, yes, I have seen it. It's I remember. Yeah, I did. Go ahead.
Is there anything you can share about your feelings of seeing it now? You don't have to if you don't want to, but I am curious if you're willing to share.
Yeah, it's kind of for me. I've always been like a very confident guy in my goals. Like if I set out for a goal and I really want it, I will accomplish it. I just have like faith in myself. I feel like everyone should have faith in themselves. So
Hmm.
making that video, I was kind of like, in my mind, I knew like, okay, I'll become like, I'll get bigger than where I was on that day on YouTube and this and that. So I think like seeing that, like seeing it accomplishing, it's really nice because like it like puts into perspective like how far I was and like I remember making that video too. Like I was just in my room like on like I don't know like at 8 p.m. like I'm just chilling and I just made that and like it took me like I'm not even that long. I don't know like 30 minutes, but it's just like something that I like to look back on because like I can't do that anymore. Really, like back then, like I'm glad I made it. It's more like a surreal and like very like heartwarming feeling. I'd say like it's pretty cool to just like look at that and then look at where I am at now, and like I want to keep going, but it does make me like feel like a sense of like accomplishment for sure. Like it's really cool to see, and like it's not even like it's just that video is more specifically for me, not for other people to watch. So I mean, that video is public, so yeah, it's cool they can watch it, but it's
I know
like
what you mean.
yeah, like it's really just for me, and I really feel like a sense of accomplishment. Like yeah, like it's kind of cool. Like sometimes I scroll through like old videos, like my oldest videos, and like think about like where I was then and where I am now. So yeah, that video in particular is one of them. So yeah, it's like very heartwarming, I would say.
Hell yeah. Well, hey, you know, it's certainly well deserved, sincerely. So,
Thanks.
yeah. I guess a bit more of a silly one. Can you define what Drop a Draco is?
That's awesome. That's a pretty deep cut. So Drop a Draco. I used to play Pokemon competitively, like go like on the website for Smogon, the competitive Pokemon website. And there's a big YouTuber there. His name's PokeAimMD. and he plays competitive Pokemon. He still uploads every day. He dropped merch, and like something in his videos is like he says he drops a Draco. There's a move in Pokemon called Draco Meteor. So every time in his videos they use that move, it's like, oh, I'll just drop a Draco. I'm gonna drop a Draco. It's like one of his catchphrases, and he made a shirt for it. And I bought that shirt like in college, like 4 years ago or something, or 5 years ago. I don't know where it is now, but yeah, like so that's his catchphrase. So I like to yeah, that's where that comes from. It's from that guy from competitive Pokemon.
You know, I'm putting you a little on the spot with this one, and I can answer first if you want a little time. Thinking about the Arkham series, just silly, serious, whatever it is. Is there a Batman line that just jumps out to you as perhaps a favorite of yours?
Oh my god. Honestly, the first thing I don't know if it's my favorite, but like, there's been a lot of memes with Batman recently where like in Arkham he's like completely brutalizing like a lot of enemies, and it's like they put it in this funny viral format. I think my favorite is like when Batman says "get in there." It's very specific. It's when he's talking to Simon Stagg. It's when he's talking to Simon Stagg at Ace in the Ace Chemical or during the Cloudburst section in Arkham Knight, and he
Hmm.
like interrogates him to find like the battery in the Batmobile, or whatever. And he
Hmm.
throws him in the cage. Says, "Get in there." And it's like people cut that line out and they put it in like memes where Batman, like, you know how brutal Batman, Arkham Batman can be, he, like breaks people in two, and the people put that like "get in there," like, and he throw them like at a gas station. It was really funny. But an actual favorite line of mine,
Well, and that can count too. You don't have to think of
yeah,
another one
yeah,
if you don't want to. Yeah,
yeah,
I think you're crushing it with that one. You know, and I have that same kind of like brain where I've been doing a bunch of the I want to like 100% all the Arkham City challenges. Um, I'm not even like anywhere close to that, but whatever. Um, one of the things like Batman's intro lines, I'm always thinking about like riffs on like the things he says. Like the one I don't care enough to make it, so I hope someone does, is when Batman walks out and is like, "This is not going to be pretty" or whatever. I just like really want someone to do that as the intro to like a Dress to Impress video. I would think that's like that might be funny to no one but me.
no, that'd
But
be awesome. That's kind of like death screen, like the death screens and like the Arkham games, and like how people love that. Like those intros, you're right. I didn't really think about that. That could be a good idea for sure. Like right before like the regular challenges, yeah, that'd be awesome. I'd be down.
dude, I absolutely love those things. Well, gosh, you know, we're going through this at such a just we're getting great stuff at a great pace here. You know, I only have a few more for you, so
Oh yeah.
this will probably end up being a quick one, but we're doing great.
Awesome.
Um, you know, oh gosh, it's so hard to pick one here, but um, I heard you mention once, and I can't remember when this was, so maybe the exact numbers are different now. That you had like a year's worth of video ideas still cooking. You know, can you maybe talk a little bit about how 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 long does it take you to know if a video idea has like juice to it? You know, what how do you know that?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I think it's over the course of like working, like doing like these ideas on YouTube where I figure out what kind of works and what didn't. Like I remember when like I quit my real job and I went to just doing YouTube, trying to do YouTube full time. That whole month, like it was low viewership. I made a video like called like Green Arrow, Black Canary's history in the Arkhamverse, and that video didn't do good. And, like me now, I was like, that video was definitely never gonna do good because it's not a very like interesting idea in the whole grand scheme of things. I think I figured out what like it's like hard to explain in words. I figured out like what could work and what doesn't. I think like things like people love compilation ideas like lore details, disturbing details, ranking videos, but like and then there's more unique ideas too, like I mean Batman creative villains or like the Mount Rushmore of superhero video games. Like I think I found it like and also like did like research on YouTube too, like what makes a video good, like what are good ideas, like what makes a video idea compelling. And I think I just compartmentalized that all into like like no words, just knowing in my mind what could be a potentially good video or not. And I think because of that, coupled with like having like an established like rep of like just doing DC stuff, so some people are just gonna watch anyway. I think makes for good videos. And these years worth of ideas that I have is just like always just thinking about it like throughout my life, like just walking outside or at the gym or eating with my friends. Like I just think about these things, I write them immediately in my notes and just like kind of think about like what would make how it makes it a good video. Um, it's really hard to say what. I think it's just going through like years of doing YouTube, I figured out what works and what doesn't.
Yeah.
Um, and like, yeah, that's definitely what I think. Yeah, is that. It's always hard to say. I thought about that
No,
too.
I
Like, I would, yeah, but
think that's a good
yeah,
answer. Yeah.
yeah.
You know, one of the things I'm struggling with is maybe a strong word, but like, I guess I'll just cue it up to you, and then we'll start the conversation there. How do you fit in like a subscribe promo within the video without it like derailing things? Because it's so hard to do, I think.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think the most or like the easiest ways to do it is like say it quickly, like in the beginning, like oh yeah, let's subscribe, want to watch more, and then move on. Make it not very short and sweet. But I also think like doing things like adding like an animation for subscribing, like during the video, is also something that works. I haven't done it in a while, but like you can like you can get like a green screen subscribe, and like what I do is like I get a subscribe animation with the green screen, and I just edit it into the video, and it's like a little mouse that clicks the subscribe button, and I think that like visual cues like that um, make it easier because it doesn't interrupt the flow of the video, and people see that and they can subscribe. And also, there's a way where if people click, I forget what the link is, but if someone clicks your YouTube link, it immediately takes them to like the subscribe thing. Like as soon as they click it open, it says, "Do you want to subscribe to this channel?" So I've seen that's like a
Mm.
tip. You can do that as well. And yeah, those are I think finding a way to like not interrupt the flow of the video by like a visual cue, like subscribe here, like it's like an animation. I think that might be the best ways, and making it short and sweet in the intro. That's how I always did it. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
my works in that.
Um.
Oh yeah.
Oh gosh, it's getting down to there's probably I don't know 4 or 5 left here, but um, something I'm always curious about. You know, Batman. The combat is in the Arkham games is very self-expressive. I would say there's a lot of different ways to approach it. How much can you tell about someone from watching them fight in Arkham?
Oh yeah, like how they're fighting. Oh yeah, for sure. I think that's a good question. I think it depends on like how much variation they use. If they're just punching and countering, I can probably tell like they just kind of want to get through the game and not really fully explore what the game has to offer, which is perfectly fine. I think if they're using quickfire gadgets, I think it tells me like they're kind of paying attention to like what's in the game. Because I've seen people play through the game that are actually competent. But they never really quickfire gadgets. They don't really use their other abilities unless they're forced to. Um, so if they're using stuff like that, I think it tells me like they're way more invested in the game than others. I think if they go a step beyond that, then they're very like just big fans of the game. But I think like bare bones, like people they at the very least enjoy the game, but like they're just not really like trying to lock in on it. Because I've seen like playthroughs of people at the very end of like a game, and they're like still getting hit by people like riot shields and stun sticks, and like in ways that the game tells you you should know at that point like how to get around them. It's like I just think about that like it's funny to see, but I feel like they're just not really as focused in the game as someone else is. So
Yeah.
at the very it's like I don't yeah that's all it is just in the game. I guess they're just not locked into the game as others depending on how they're fighting. That's yeah it's like that.
You know, this is an ad-lib question. If again, it's putting you on the spot a little bit. So if you don't have one, that's totally cool. But if you were to, search across the rogues gallery, and I love the side missions in the Arkham games. Mad Hatter to me is like I love those ones because like the first time I was
Same.
playing Arkham City, dude, and I find that like side mission, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Blew my mind. But if you were to, look across the rogues gallery, just pick someone out as deep a cut as you want, or as, mainstream as you want. Is there someone you would love to get their own side mission, their own story?
Killer Moth. Definitely Killer Moth. Killer Moth is like one of the villains in Batman that's like he's pretty popular and he's really cool and really interesting. It's like a goofy character like Firefly. And like he's
You
never
said
been in
Killer
any
Moth? I don't think I actually know them.
oh yeah, you should look him up. He's a pretty just a big flying guy, kinda like Firefly with a cocoon gun. He shoots a cocoon gun. Very yeah, like I wouldn't say he's a deep cut. I'd say he's kind of well known, kind of. Like not really. He's kind
Yeah,
of
if
like
you're in the community,
if
I'm
you're in the
probably.
community, yeah. But he's like a goofy villain that I'm surprised he's never been in any of the Arkham games. It's like he's up there. Like I feel like people would want him kind of like on the level like Man Down in Arkham Knight. So him for sure. As like a side mission, yes. And as a villain that's never appeared in the games. He was in Arkham Asylum as like a character bio, but yeah, he's never been in the game. You can't see him. So he is someone I for sure would love to see in the Arkham games.
I think
Ventriloquist too. I mean, Arkham Shadow had Ventriloquist, but I think seeing like a fully fledged out super villain Ventriloquist would have been great to see. But maybe one day, maybe one day.
I love it. You mentioned Red Dead 2 a little bit earlier, and let me tell you, that is one of my all-time favorite games. I love that game. But
Yeah.
thinking about it, I was like, I guess I was a little surprised to hear you. I think I was a little surprised to hear you say that because I was like, well, yeah. I mean, I guess you probably just love great games, but I'm like, they're so different. That and Arkham and Pokemon, all these things. What is it about Red Dead 2 that grabs onto you that pulls you in?
Honestly, like it's really funny because like Grand Theft Auto, I don't really like Grand Theft Auto, but I love Red Dead, and I think it's just like I always like themes and ideas. Like it might just be the Old West. I love the Old West, but I think Red Dead's story and characters are like so good. Like Arthur Morgan and like the Dutch Vanderlyn gang and like all these emotional storylines, and it's kind of like not like I mean the gameplay's not like Arkham obviously, but it's very similar in the sense like it has like a world building, like universe, like there's lore there. Like you can like go into camp and look at things about the characters. And I love stuff like that. And Red Dead 2 does that perfectly. And I think it's also music. I love music in games. And I think it's just like the combination of like the Old West and these characters. Like Arkham Morgan is so interesting. Like Dutch is so interesting. And the world building. And I think it's also like a childhood thing too. Like Red Dead 1, I played as a kid. So I kind of grew, like, as a teenager, I guess. So it's like I grew up with nostalgia for it. And like Red Dead 2, it translated to Red Dead 2 as well, and it's just something about like how well that game was made that made it one of my favorites. And me, I play video games like I played games since I was a kid, so like I've always grown like different games like Nintendo or like PlayStation. Even had I like Xbox too, so I've always played a different variety, different genres of games. So I never really singled any out, which is why Red Dead 2 I gave a chance just like any other game, and I loved it. So
I guess there is what's the phrase I'm looking for. There's of course, a lot of love that I get, that I sense from you towards different superheroes, and different characters, Batman, Spider-Man, Superman, whatever, Goku. And if you were to, and I think one of the things I appreciate about you that I don't know if I've seen another person do is that I think you can point to um like what traits about that person that resonate with you and why. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. And I've always felt the same way, but I've just never heard it described. So I was like, oh, yeah, I guess I do feel that way. I never thought about it necessarily. But if you were to, pick out one of the heroes and what's maybe something about Spider-Man, Batman, Goku, whoever it may be, that just something about them that you would love to be able to, internalize and bring to yourself.
yeah, I think the one that I would say is like Spider-Man. Like Spider-Man, what I love about like Spider-Man is like he has so many like responsibilities and anxiety. Like I grew up with anxiety. I've had anxiety before, and Spider-Man feels like that. Where Spider-Man's like I have so many like responsibilities. Like I have to like make sure this person's okay or this person's okay. And he's like, I think about. And Spider-Man's like, I think about days where he says in his mind, like in the story, where like, he thinks about days where like he still wants to take a day off and not help these people, but if he does that, like he's gonna feel like crap afterwards and like hate himself, and like it almost puts him like in a trap scenario where he's kind of forced to do these things like at times and feels like that, but he does it because it's the right thing to do, and like that's like a good thing to have like as a human, like morally. So I think as morals go, like Spider-Man, like that's something I try to like internalize. Like there might be days where I think like I don't want to help this person or I don't want to do this. I want to do things for myself, but at the end of the day, if I do that, I will personally feel like bad too, because like I could have just helped that person and it could have been over. So things like that, like Spider-Man's moral compass, is like really like it's something I try to incorporate. Um, and then like yeah, that's like the biggest one. But Batman, like I think about Batman too, like how Batman's like sense of like his code and like his whole like he doesn't want to like he's already kind of like pushing the edge. They don't want to go too far and go too deep to where he can't come back. I think about things like that too. I try to apply it to like my everyday life in like my real like practical ways. But I mean, the interesting thing about superheroes like they're fake, but they are like their stories and themes and ideas. Like you can those are real. Like you can take those and they can like
Mm.
apply that to your everyday life. So I think because of that, like that's why I enjoy Batman and Spider-Man because they kind of have like similar ideologies in that respect, where they try to be the best they can be, and like for Batman, obviously he has his issues, Spider-Man has his issues, but they try to overcome those and become like to do the right thing in like their own ways and on like a moral, like on a good moral, like a high ground, not in any malicious way. So I try to like I think about that too. Like I'm like some days I'm like kind of like an asshole, but I don't try to like overthrow it. I try to like keep my be on the line and be nice and still like make sure everyone's okay. So I think those are ideas that I take from like Spider-Man, Goku, Batman. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely those.
absolutely. Well, hey, that's phenomenally well put. I got two final ones. These are the ones I try to ask to everyone. If you were in the room, is there one song you would have been like, this has to go on the golden record, or My Name Ain't Gotham Paladin, you know?
That's a good question. I would probably just put one of my favorite songs, which is "Carry On My Wayward Son" by Kansas. I think it's a great song. I think that could fit for sure. It's a classic. A lot of people know that song. I love it. It's
Hell yeah.
yeah. I think for that's the first thing that came to mind. Yeah, I would probably put that if I was in the room. I can't think of any other song. I love
First
other
answer,
songs
best
too.
answer. Yeah.
Yeah, like I love other songs too, but they're all like rock and roll. I don't know if they'd be good enough to put out in the states. I think Kansas Carry On Weird sounds like a classical rock that's more like upbeat. So I think that'd be great. To put on the
There
plane.
you go, dude. I can't remember which game it was, but some one of those Guitar Hero games, man. I'd tear it up to that song. I tell you
Yeah,
what.
great.
Uh, all right, last one for you here. And well, I guess when I use the word art here, I music, games, movies, anything you want. What kind of art do you think the world needs more of right now?
Oh, that's a good question. I think the world. Oh man, I think that the world needs maybe more. Yeah, give me a second here. Let me see.
As long as you want, as long as you want, sincerely.
Yeah, I think the world needs more. Mm, creative slash inspirational art. I think like a lot of people are stuck in their like drowned in negativity and they worry about things and things of that nature. I think having any kind of art, whether that be like something someone drew or something someone made, whatever the case may be, like to help uplift those spirits, like it's probably something the world definitely needs right now. Whether it be like something that's like a current event and they try to make like a upbeat art a piece about it. Um, I think things like that are really needed right now. Whether that's yeah, like I said, like it comes in the fashion of a video game or a movie or like a picture or a painting or a drawing. Um, I think the more ideas, like the genre of like, or like it doesn't matter like what it is specifically, but something to help uplift those spirits. That kind of art, I think, is always needed. Not just particularly in this time, like this era, but like always, like all the time. So I would say things like, yeah, so like uplifting, inspirational art, I think, is what people need more. Always need.